Andrew Schulz went on Ryan Clark's podcast earlier today to confront him, and based on the reaction from social media in the comments, the interaction didn't quite go in Ryan Clark's favor. Their beef initially started when Andrew Schulz had on Ish and Gigs, and they were talking about black girlfriends, and Andrew Schulz made a joke that a lot of people were mad about.
Wait, what is the black girlfriend effect? This is
you don't know about
just glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend, all of a sudden he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows
up, bro.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining about shit. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
they grow a beard
because
there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck.
That's hilarious.
This caused a lot of drama, man. The two co-hosts, Shits and Gigs, those two dudes who's from the UK, their audience is predominantly black women or women in general. So they damn near lost their entire podcasting career. They had to come on the internet and beg and grovel for forgiveness. Andrew Schulz, his audience isn't black women, so he could care less what they think. So Andrew Schulz just went in harder. Now, here's the thing. I heard a lot of take and think pieces on this.
Cushion when they get slapped the fuck. Complaining about shit. That's why they gotta shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
they grow a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped the fuck.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call HALAL YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. That's giving all praise to the Most High. Name is only begotten Son, and name the Holy Spirit. Double honors to our teachers, the elders, and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us His truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. Shalom to 144,000. Real quick, as you've seen in this clip right here, man, this guy, Andrew Schulz, he's a comedian. And something that he said in this video is causing a lot of controversy, a lot of backlash. But did he lie? Okay. What he said was the actual truth, because a lot of these so-called black women, they're very aggressive. They're very masculine. Okay. They're out of order. All right. And, just to be fair, this happens with a lot of women, where a lot of women will try to beat up and abuse men. But, the so-called black woman, she on a whole nother level, man. All right. She'll jump up in your face, talk crazy, say the most outlandish shit. And in a way they really think they can beat your ass, and my sister was like that when we was growing up. She used to try to jump up and I have to, choke her ass out or something. But it's just the fact that, because this is something that everybody's talking about right now, so I figured I'll just go into it real quick. He didn't lie from what he said, man. Okay. And maybe the so-called white boy, which Jake woman should not be dealing with no Edomite man, period. But maybe the so-called white boy, he might shave his head, he might put on a beard because he's more trying to emulate a Jake anyways. But at the same time, him being funny saying that, he wasn't wrong in saying that, because that's the truth. And I saw a perfect example of this yesterday, because I saw this video yesterday. I saved it. I said, maybe I might go in and go in on that. And I saw a perfect example, and it was a so-called white dude, or he might have been a Latin tribe, but he was dating a so-called black woman, okay? He was dating a so-called black woman, and he was filming her just beating his ass. I'm talking about whooping his ass. He driving, the kid in the car, she swinging on him, biting him, punching him, And it was just ridiculous, but that's a reality that a lot of guys have to deal with. Me personally, I don't deal with shit like that. I'm not dealing with it. I ain't trying to have to put my hands on you. Don't put your hands on me, I don't put my hands on you. And I feel like if a bitch put their hands on you, you got to get from around her, because that can get you in a lot of trouble. But you got certain women that take advantage of men not putting their hands on them. So they'll put their hands on a man, disrespect the man, say all kind of crazy stuff. And you see a lot of this around the so-called black woman. Now, I've dated all kinds of women. I ain't gonna cap. I've dated all kinds of women, and I've had many women try me. Okay, and I had to let their ass know straight up. But I'll let a bitch know straight up, hey, I'll leave your ass here. I'll leave you in the dust for playing with me, like, But, it's just the facts, okay? It's just the fact. That's just true. And this is why the scriptures say what they say. Let's grab a few of them. By the way, it says, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25, it says, verse 13, it says, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. Okay, and these women are very wicked. Like I said in that video I seen, obviously, I thought about it going to go find it and putting it in the video, but I'm not going to do it for YouTube purposes. But if you see that video, it was absolutely crazy. And the guy was filming it because he know that, he gonna need that for evidence. Because when these women call the police on you, the cops immediately take the woman's stance unless you have evidence. So he had to literally, film himself getting punched on. She was punching the shit out of him too, kick, biting him, all kind of stuff. But this is what these women do because this society has given them a certain amount of power. Okay? And a lot of men, they get with these women because they pretty. But the whole time, she a whole demon. She been her beating your ass. I've seen this. I've seen guys, that I was, cool with. They didn't know how to deal with their women, or the woman was dealing with them. You got to deal with these women. You can't let these women deal with you. It says, verse 16, here's the point. I'd rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. Now, why is it said that I would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon? Can you imagine dwelling with a lion in the house? You know how you gonna walk on eggshells? You're gonna be afraid. You don't want to, disturb the lion. That's better than dealing with a wicked woman. Okay, because these women are relentless, man. Okay, they have no mercy, no compassion. They bug the hell out. They got demons on them, really. It says the wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. And let me say this: I experienced this one time, bro, and it was actually with an Edomite woman. This is when I was, fresh out of high school. I'm dating this Edomite chick. This was at the end of our relationship. One day the bitch spazzed out, started acting crazy, and she went trying to hit me. And I just went running around the room laughing and playing with her bitch, chill. But I seen in her face, her face changed. I put up against the wall and I'm looking at her face, and her face was all contorted and changed. I'm like, who the fuck is this? But I realized it was a demon, and I had to get away from her ass because I ain't, I ain't into that. Verse 19, it says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. And a lot of times these guys be finding themselves with these wicked ass women because you wicked, because you a nigga. This is what the Lord will give you. He'll make your match. You want to be a demon, a nigga, just really some punk ass dude. The Lord gonna give you a woman, to merit that, man. Okay. And she be whooping your ass, calling you all type of names, dragging you all through all kind of hell, Verse 21, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. And a lot of guys do that. They stumble because a woman is beautiful. They desire her because she look good. They want to, pop the woman because she got a fat ass or whatever the hell it may be. And the whole time, that's a demon, okay? The damn woman in the red dress, that's a serpent, bro. And a lot of guys lose their minds, just lose their life and their freedom. Lose the truth behind women. Okay? So, it says, verse 24, it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all died. Do all the wickedness these women do? I'm going to go to verse 23. So, I missed this. It says, a wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. Yeah, guys be all bugged out of their mind, looking all crazy because they, their woman at home being a demon. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. You see? So, yeah, it says, give the water no passage, neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. If she go not as thou wouldest have her, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. And the least, dateable woman is a so-called black woman. That's just reality. It just is what it is. That's why you got such thing as passport bros. Men are leaving the country to go find, traditional, women. These modern women now, scripture says that your woman shall rule over you. These women trying to rule over the men. And a lot of these men, they allow that shit. Look, well, hey, a prime example was that guy, Alazar. He talking about how he like loudmouth black women from the hood, dominating him and stuff. That shit is wicked, bro. Hey, man, that's a vile spirit upon you. No man is supposed to be dominated by no woman. That's that's disorder. Okay, that's not according to the scriptures. And as men, you got to stand up and and respect yourself, man. Don't allow no woman to beat your ass or talk all type of crazy to you. And the moment you allow that shit, it's going to continue. That's another thing too. The moment you allow that stuff, you that you sit back and just let that happen, it's going to continue. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. Saw a video the other day of an Edomite guy. Him and his Edomite wife, I guess, they would get into it, and he called 911. All you heard was audio, but she said she had shot him. She shot him. All right. So this ain't just an attack upon a black woman either. It's really all women. Let me tell you this one first. She shot him, and he called the cops, and the cops and the operators on the operator line, and he's pretty much begging. He's like, "Help me, please! She's going to kill me! She's going to kill me!" He was begging and pleading to the woman when she came up, "Don't kill him!" And all you heard was shots go off. Now I heard a story that she killed herself. I don't know, but it was another incident where it was this guy, Jake guy. He had a Latin woman. She was Cuban or whatever. And they had moved into this house. The guy had a lot of money. He had a nice ass truck with rims. And whatever happened, But they had ended up leaving that house, and we went into the house, and all you saw was holes in the walls, like she was just trying to destroy the house. She had, his truck was in the car. She had done, destroyed the truck, all type of stuff for whatever reason. She became a complete demon. She wasn't like that at first, but she became a complete demon and pretty much destroyed all this man's shit. And he ended up having to leave, And when we went into the house, it was all kind of holes in the walls. So that's why I said I'd rather dwell with a lion or a dragon than to deal with a wicked woman, to keep house with a wicked woman, because you physically can't. Okay, it's just not something that you want to do. But this is a part of the curses. It says Micah chapter 7, verse. I'm gonna read it in the NLT as a matter of fact. Verse 9. It says, "I will be patient as the Lord punishes me." And this is a part of our punishment, for I have sinned against him. But after that, he will take up my case and give me justice for all I have suffered from mine enemies. You see, and the women, these women nowadays, they are our enemies. The Lord will bring me into the light, and I will see his righteousness. It says, then my enemies, or she that is mine enemy, will see it, that the Lord is on my side. They will be ashamed, because these women nowadays, they think that the Lord is dealing with them. They think that the Most High is dealing with them, and that's not true. Okay, that's off. The Lord sets up an order, and the natural way of things is that there's the Most High, there's YAHAWASHI, there's the man, and then there's the woman. All right, but in this society, that's been distorted because of feminism and this whole women empowerment thing, right? So it says, they will be ashamed that they taunted me. These women will taunt you, say all kind of crazy stuff to you to get you to react a certain way. See, if anybody know how to get under your skin, it's your own damn woman. It says, saying, so where is Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, that God of yours? With my own eyes will I see their downfall. They will be trampled like mud in the streets. So we're going to see these women get destroyed, man. Okay? We're going to see these women get, that rude awakening. Alright? So yeah, what Andrew Schulz said, he wasn't wrong for saying that. They making a big deal about it because they know it's true. They know it. And the so-called black woman know that she's the least compatible. She's the least you want to deal with, man. That's why Jake going to other nations, dealing with other nations, dealing with the other tribes, what they deal with the so-called black woman, because they ain't right. A lot of them wasn't raised with their fathers. They got daddy issues. Bitch is completely psycho. All right, a lot of these women are therapy because they're not mentally sound. They're not mentally okay. All right, so just something I want to touch on in the spirit real quick. I pray for edify, hope, and elect. Never honest, I teach the elders and apostles, create most of the charges of truth and truth and sincerity. So you women out there, if it don't apply, let it fly. But in most cases, they do. So I don't want to punish what I love about the